High Stakes Duel is back, and Phil Hellmuth has a new challenger. Welcome inside the PokerGO studio. Ali Nejad, alongside my co-host Maria Ho. We welcome you to the Hype Show for High Stakes Duel 3. And Maria, a little bit of a curveball this time around. We had professional poker players squaring off against Hellmuth. This time around, though, he's up against sports broadcaster Nick Wright. A different look.
Yeah, I mean, there was a ton of speculation about who Hellmuth would play after Negreanu, and this is a little bit out of left field, sure, but I think Nick really wanted to challenge Hellmuth. Hellmuth accepted, and here we are.
Yeah, and obviously Hellmuth undefeated, coming off a sweep of both Esfandiari and Negreanu, 6-0 at this point, $700,000 banked in profits. And are you surprised? You can't possibly have predicted that he was going to sweep both of those guys, but are you surprised at Phil's results to this point?
Yes, and no disrespect to Phil, but Heads Up is just a very specialized format, and he has been able to take down two incredibly skilled players. So yes, surprised at the very least, but now I am just hoping that Hellmuth can continue his run. It's been fabulous to watch.
And if you missed the punctuation point on that run, here it is from the last round, High Stakes Duel 2, third matchup against Negreanu. 6K bet and called, and the 8 on the turn gives both players a straight.
Yikes.
This is a disaster.
Here it is.
30,000.
30,000.
All in.
Yeah.
I had a call. I have 10 eyes straight.
It's a cooler. I mean, you got the flush draw too. Good game, bud. That was insane. Way to go. Good match. You played great, buddy. You really did. You deserve it.
Can still hit a 10 for a chop.
Yeah. No.
But instead, it is the 3 and the coldest of decks on the end.
Yeah, no, but I thought I...
No, he's got me.
Leave Phil Hellmuth.
Okay, he did it. Woo.
With
Good
his
job, Phil.
second
Wow, what a battle.
sweep.
Yep. 8 on the turn. That was ugly.
The only bad thing for you is that
And Hellmuth showing he's red hot courtesy of that Frosty. Both of them making a straight there at the end. But is this 6-0 record a result of Phil simply sun running, or is he doing a lot of good things?
I think it's honestly a mix of both. We saw that he coolered Daniel in that hand, and he definitely outflopped him in several occasions throughout that match. But to be perfectly honest, even Daniel said it. You played well, and that was in earnest. I think Hellmuth has been doing some good things.
Yeah, but this time around, he's not up against a professional poker player. We touched on it at the top of the show. This is an amateur, not somebody who plays for a career. If you don't know Nick Wright, well, let's get to know him. He is the co-host of First Things First on FS1, getting paid to give his opinion, and he certainly gave plenty of opinion through the Twitter sphere. Longtime poker player, though, so he's not just a geek off the street coming in with 50K, burning a hole in his pocket, and he has been stepping up and playing in some bigger games. The format is a little bit tweaked, though, going into this one. In the past, we played 30-minute levels. Now, though, slightly ratcheted up 20-minute levels as we look at the rules of the duel. Winner stays. Loser has the first option to challenge, and of course, if they decline, then that seat's open for 30 days. Cash out rules depending on the rounds won. And what's at stake? Of course, 100,000, 50K a man in round 1, then 100K in round 2, 200K in round 3. We have yet to see a match get in to round 4 yet. And Nick Wright, we talked about him giving a lot of opinions. What is your opinion as to whether or not he comes back and challenges Phil if he loses this first one for 50K?
That's a great question. Honestly, I think it'll depend on how he felt he played in the match, because, you know, it's one thing to lose, but it would be different to lose because of run bad versus feeling like maybe you weren't ready to handle the situation and the pressure at hand.
Yeah, and Nick Wright, we talked about him having an opinion. We talked about him sharing his thoughts. Well, let's check in with him on what Phil has at stake in this match.
If he loses to me, there will be folks who then use that as an argument of, it's a one-off, it's random, and use it to invalidate some of what he did against Daniel and Antonio, and that really matters to him. So I would just say to Phil, it's not only that if he loses to me, folks will be like, you lost to the idiot who talks about sports in the mornings, but it will undercut some of the success that he has built up over the last 18 months on High Stakes Duel. He just has to think about what this could do to his, reputation as arguably the greatest poker player ever.
Well, if there's anybody for whom the intangibles, things other than just the money, matters a tremendous amount, we know that it is Phil Hellmuth. So, especially with Nick kind of breaking it down there, do you agree that this is going to be added pressure for him?
Yeah, listen, the man's not wrong. I feel like Hellmuth has a lot more to lose. I think that he's gained some extra street cred because he's been able to beat people that they weren't thinking he would. And so at this point, it will reflect back a little bit on those wins as well.
Yeah, but all that street cred apparently not good enough to take 100% of himself, as Nick Wright tweeted, very astutely pointing out that if you like your chances so much, why are you selling off a piece? You think you want 100% of yourself? And I don't know, Maria, is this philanthropy or a hedge that Phil is giving up some pieces here? Because he's got $700,000 in profit. It's not like he can't take the full $50K and put it in play.
I think it's philanthropy. I think he really just wants to give back to the fans. He's been selling pieces on Ustake for other things as well, so this is just part of the process for him at this point.
Well, obviously the fans love it, and he has no shortage of support. People snapping up the opportunity to buy stock in Phil, especially in this format where he has proven himself so good and so strong. But Nick Wright is not without his supporters. First and foremost, of course, his colleague, one would expect from First Things First on FS1, Brandon Marshall weighed in. Take a listen.
Phil Hellmuth. Nobody cares about your 15 bracelets. Nobody cares about your 65 top finishes and all of that other stuff. Nobody cares. Nick Wright is the man. You're going down, okay? And you're gonna have to live with that on your. That's gonna be on your resume. Nick Wright, host of First Things First, radio legend. When Nick's done with you, I want a little piece of you too. When nobody cares about your little game phase and you're going down. We know you're a legend and respect all of that, but you are going down. It's a new era, new wave. Nick Wright, let's go, baby. You know what time it is. Let's go.
All right, then. Bang, bang, I guess. I mean, to be expected, that it is his co-host. He's going to have his back, but them some fighting words, you know.
Yeah, I'm betting the don't on Brandon Marshall taking a seat. And it wasn't just his colleagues, by the way. He's developed this relationship, has Nick Wright, with a poker legend, Doyle Brunson, who took to the Twitter streets, as he does so often, to say that, I got a tip for you. Don't shuffle your chips. You look a little bit too sharp when you do that. It's obvious that you've played a lot of poker, but good job. So nice to see some support from the poker community for Nick. But I think he's gone beyond just, oh, let me not shuffle my chips. He claims that he's been deep in the lab, grinding Phil Hellmuth tape, Maria. And if we are to believe that, I am guessing that we are going to see one very well-prepared and motivated Nick Wright coming into this match. Of course, he said that Hellmuth doesn't have any tells, but you know, if you were his coach and he's got this $50K on the line, what is it that you would tell him coming into this match he needs to do to win?
Honestly, it'd be as simple as just play your game. We've talked about it. Nick is a rec player who actually has had a lot of experience, so don't come into this and get a little bit befuddled by the bright lights, the fact that you might be sitting across from Phil Hellmuth, and do what you know how to do, because Hellmuth isn't going to know what to expect.
Yeah, so I mean, when you say play your own game, oftentimes you sit down, especially if you're against opponents that are unfamiliar to you, and you tend to feel like if these are acknowledged players that are of a higher caliber than me, I don't want to do anything that's going to seem like a deviation from what they would do. I want to maybe copy where they're coming from, whether it's the opening bet sizes or, you know, checking back in spots where I wouldn't otherwise until I saw this other player do it so often. So what you're telling Nick is whatever your game plan is, come out, execute, and don't be impressed upon by what Hellmuth is going to do, because he's got his own version. And as you and I know, and many people have pointed out, it isn't the version that all the other poker professionals out there utilize. So if I flip it and I say, you are coaching Hellmuth, what does he have to do to win this match?
I think Hellmuth just needs to do what he's been doing. The way that he disposed of Esfandiari, the way that he disposed of Negreanu, what he did is he didn't really come in with a game plan. He said it himself. He's the type of player that will sit down and then adjust accordingly. And so for Hellmuth, he's kind of a game flow type of guy, and he's going to let that dictate how he responds.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some just absolutely incredible things. Daniel dubs it zoom zoom when all of a sudden Phil decides to go nuts with a hand like 8-3, as you remember. And then it was that incredible limp with the ace-jack suited and then just fold to the raise from Negreanu.
You never know what the white magic is going to pull out.
That's for sure. Are you on Team White Magic? It's prediction time. Where are you going with this one?
Yeah, I think I do have to go with Hellmuth. Finally, I think 7-0. He's ready for it. Here we come.
I can't believe that you've betrayed the fraternal order of commentators, Maria, and picked Hellmuth when clearly the appropriate pick, if you want to maintain membership to the Booth Brethren, is to go with Nick Wright. I, of course, am not ready to be expelled from that community, so I will go with Nick Wright, even though it's against my better judgment from a poker standpoint, because also it will be very fun to be on the other side of your prediction. But I understand Phil Hellmuth, obviously the overwhelming favorite, and if you want to catch the action, you know where to turn. Right here on PokerGO, High Stakes Duel Round 3, Hellmuth and Wright comes your way, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, Wednesday. This one is going to be good. You won't want to miss it. In the meantime, on behalf of Maria Ho, I'm Ali Nejad saying so long, and we will see you for the match Wednesday, July 28th.